Hey everyone, this is Billy Trullo with Podcast 1558. I'm seeing some people put out their rankings on pass catching tandems. I don't agree with all of them, so here's mine. Before I start from the bottom of this list, I will put in some honorable mentions here that I thought deserved some sort of attention. I'll start off with that Tyler Boyd and Jamar Chase in Cincinnati. I think you gotta believe if that line gets a little bit better, Joey Burrow is certainly going to take a step forward. I think they can be dynamic. Maybe it's not Boyd and Chase. Maybe it's Higgins and Chase. So there are some questions there. They don't make the list for me, but I do think they should be watched. I also think Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel over there in Washington, had they not been so lazy at the quarterback position this offseason, they would certainly be on this list. I think Curtis Samuel is a dynamic player. Terry McLaurin's done more than enough to prove that on his own he's a top flight receiver in this league. He's playing with clowns right now. So we'll see how long they decide to keep wasting talent like that. Nothing, against Ryan Fitzpatrick, but you know where that goes, and so I don't think you're going to see all-pro seasons out of receivers on that offense, because there's a solid chance Fitzpatrick isn't the guy all year long. He's not a 16-game quarterback. He hasn't been for some time. I won't harbor on that for too long. So let's get this list going. At number 10, I got George Kittle and Deebo Samuel. Obviously there's question marks at receiver, but whether it's Jimmy G that gets the start, or it's Lance, I don't think it really matters. I think George Kittle has done far more than enough to prove his worth, and I don't think that injury is going to hold him back. And I think Deebo Samuel is one of the more exciting players in the NFC, maybe in the league. He reminds me a lot of Tyreek Hill. His style. He's quick. I think he's very fast. He's built much tougher than he appears, because he is a smaller wide receiver. But that West Coast offense, it gets rolling, and it can, God forbid, that team can just fucking stay healthy at all. Then I think that is a group that could really be higher up on this list than 10, but certain question marks for me have them there. We got to see if that team can make it to the regular season without the entire roster imploding on it via injury. God, and no one wants to see that happen. I certainly don't want to see it happen. I want to see George Kittle have another All-Pro season, especially fantasy football. He is just an absolute nightmare for defenses, and as well as Deebo Samuel. He's going to be taking another step forward. Number 9. Don't bury me on this one. If you think I'm crazy, I guess I don't entirely blame you. I got DJ Moore and Robby Anderson at number 9. Look, these two last year, we're talking 2,200 yards, 7 touchdowns with Bridgewater throwing to him, and obviously he is a very good average quarterback. In Bridgewater, he doesn't steer the car off a cliff too often. Those guys, I think, are getting an upgrade at quarterback this year. A healthy Christian McCaffrey coming back. That is important. I do think those two together are very good, and they've done it with very little. I think Sam Darnold gets to reinvent himself this year. Everyone knows talent goes to die in New York, specifically the AFC version. So I think they deserve to be on this list. And, I kind of went back and forth with that 10 spot. I guess an honorable mention as well could be Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy, because they are getting that quarterback that DJ Moore and Robby Anderson had, the success that they had. Both had 1,000-yard seasons. I think Robby Anderson and DJ Moore, that is. So I do think Denver can have that type of success, but I won't backtrack here. Number 9 for me, Robby Anderson, DJ Moore. That offense can be nice. Again, you got to stay healthy. Everyone's got to stay healthy. We'll see what Darnold does. Maybe he gets a stomach virus again or something silly that slows them down. But if Christian McCaffrey stays healthy, Darnold stays healthy, that is a receiver group to watch. They outperformed some tandems that you would be a little surprised, and we will. I'll make sure to touch on that as we go here. Number 8, again, to me, it's about the massive upgrade in this case at quarterback. The LA Rams with Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. These two, again, almost eclipsed 2,000 yards as a tandem, 9 touchdowns last year with a guy that is, to me, he is not a good quarterback. Jared Goff is gone. Now that he is in Detroit, we'll never hear from him again. There's just there is nothing in that man's future but dust and blood. Okay, I think Matt Stafford coming to LA has a couple dynamic players. I think Cooper Kupp is very underrated. That guy, I think he can stretch the field. He can be a possession guy. I think he can be anything Matt Stafford wants him to be. And if you're paying attention, they are pretty excited about Stafford. Why shouldn't they be? And obviously they wouldn't tell us if they weren't, but they should be very excited for what Matt Stafford's going to do. Everyone's looking out for that team to really compete deep into the playoffs this year. And if you do truly believe that, these two guys are going to be a major reason for their success. Number 7 here. This is a tandem that everyone has way too high for me. And that is Julio Jones and A.J. Brown in Tennessee. Guys, it's not that I hate Tennessee. I like Julio Jones. I love A.J. Brown. But as a whole, everyone's been knocking Julio Jones for the kind of nagging injuries that he's had last year. Well, I hate to break it to you, but he didn't get younger this season. And I would have loved for him to come to Kansas City, but you have to maintain a realistic point of view here that it's not guaranteed he plays 16 games. A.J. Brown couldn't play 16 games last year. Collectively, the two had just a little over 1,800 yards last season. Obviously, separate teams at the time, but I'm telling you, as what they did individually, they would have combined for just north of 1,800 yards, 14 touchdowns. There is great production there, but there are question marks with how Julio is going to adapt to that offense. It's a run-heavy offense. Atlanta hasn't had a run game since fucking Jamal Anderson. I don't want to hear about Todd Gurley being there or any other bullshit. There's been nothing but a pass attack on that team. Julio is not going to benefit from a ton of targets. There's a younger mouth to feed on that team as well with A.J. Brown, and obviously the offense runs through Derrick Henry. So take that value for what it is. That I know him being there is going to open up that run game probably a little bit more. But if I'm looking at them as what a pass catching tandem can do, I don't believe that they belong in the top 5. Pro Football Focus, I think, had them at number 2, which is a lot of that is if they touch their ceiling, I guess. But you're telling me Derrick Henry doesn't run for 1,600 yards? I mean, he ran for 2,000 last year, so the offense still runs through there. I think there are better tandems that that demand more attention, will get more attention, and ultimately outperform them. We'll keep going here. Number 6, I got Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. Look, these two, Justin Jefferson had an awesome rookie season, so obviously there is room for some regression there, but we're talking over 2,300 yards and 21 touchdowns as a tandem last year, and he was learning the system. I think there's a chance he gets better. Say what you want about Kirk Cousins. Fact of the matter is, as a pass-catching tandem, they are in quite a few games that they have to lean on their passing game, unlike who I have them ranked above, Julio Jones and A.J. Brown. They are relied on heavily in that offense. So I do think that they deserve to be above Julio Jones and A.J. Brown and the rest of the names that I just went through. Just dropping 10 through 6 right now. Tomorrow I'm coming out with 5 through 1. We'll see what you think. Let me know what you think about this 10 through 6. Am I crazy? No, I'm not. But if you think so, let me know. Tell me where you've got who you've got 6 through 10. Do I have anyone on this list that you feel doesn't deserve to be on this top 10 list at all? Follow us on Twitter. Make sure to hit that subscribe, follow button, whatever app you're using, one of those things. And we'll drop the rest tomorrow. Peace.